Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 13th Lebanon Board of Works meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, move on to the roll call members. So, Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mayor Gentry.
Here.
Becky McClure, absent. Bill Stoner.
Present.
Dick Robertson.
Here.
Alan Milburn.
Present. Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Are there any edits to the minutes? Okay, we entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
That's right. Oh, we don't have minutes? I'm sorry. We had the minutes from the wrong meeting, so we don't have those. Never mind, those are not ready yet. Okay.
All right, not ready.
Move on to department head reports. First would be Police Department. Chief Morgan.
Good evening, board members. Since our last meeting, the Lebanon Police Department has responded to 795 calls for service. A total of 30 people were arrested for the following crimes: 6 for operating while intoxicated, 10 were wanted on a warrant, 3 for domestic battery, 5 for possession of meth, 1 for possession of a syringe, 1 for driving while suspended, 2 for habitual traffic violator, 1 for residential entry, 1 for theft. In that same time frame, 34 crash reports were taken and 5 handgun carry permits were sent off to the state for final approval. For training, Officer Austin Scott completed the law enforcement firearms instructor course at ILEA. He is now one of 3, trying to get ready for when I retire someday, I guess. So we now have 3 firearms instructors. Officer Grady Robertson, Austin McCloskey, and Michael Custis are now FTOs. They went to a course in Brownsburg. That will help as we keep hiring and people retiring and stuff like that. We're kind of wearing out the guys who do the training. So this will give us 3 more options. And then just an update on the 3 that we have given the conditional to. We're waiting to hear back from PERF. Once we hear back from them, then we'll set an actual hire date. And we still have 3 at the academy. So,
Do we have academy spots for the 3 with conditionals yet already?
Yeah, we already did that as soon as we gave them the conditional, because there's a waiting list. So as soon as it came online, we were calling.
Okay, very good. Any other questions for Chief Morgan from the board?
No.
Anything from the public? Okay, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Next will be Fire Department, Chief Batts.
Good evening, everyone. Since the last Board of Public Works and Safety meeting, Lebanon Fire has made 160 emergency calls of service, logged 596 training hours, held 1 CPR certification class, performed 9 commercial pre-plans, and completed 62 commercial inspections. The ladder climb portion of the hiring process was completed Saturday, February 11th. The candidate list has been scored down to 14 candidates. Mark Brown started February 1st as LFD's first civilian fire inspector. This is a position we've worked on for the last 3 years, developing it. We have over 650 inspections in the city of Lebanon, and we just needed a lot of extra help between plan review and TAC meetings, inspections, and re-inspections. Mark is doing a great job at this position, and everything's going well. During the month of January, firefighters Andre Rodriguez, Martin Paget, Zach Wallace, Kyle Plummer, John Thompson completed the Indiana State certification for fire investigator. Next week, LFD is the host site for Fire Officer Strategy and Tactics, and this is a state certification course. Individuals going through this want to become officers within our department, and this is an initial step to get there and becoming a ride-out officer. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief from the board? No. Anything from the public? Thank you, sir. Next, Parks and Recreation, John Messenger.
Good evening, Board, Mayor, Mia, Kelsey, good to see you. Brush growth along the rural part of the Big 4 Trail is now complete. Finally got that all wrapped up. Restrooms in the office have been updated and now complete also. Starting tomorrow, both pool vessels will be prepped for sandblasting, power washing, and concrete removal and patched along there. That's all in preparation for both vessels being painted. 2 new benches will be placed at the hot pond. In fact, we got one of them done today with this beautiful weather, and one is going to be placed at Memorial Park in memory of loved ones. After concerns of people driving on the southern part of the Big Four Trail, we'll be out installing posts to help drivers differentiate between trail and roadway, like we've done on Patterson and Ralston trail portions. Have a lot of problem down there on Southeast Street, so we'll resolve that issue. There again, I have accepted the resignation of Mike Redmond. Mike's been with us approximately 6 years. Mike's service to the city with his knowledge, skill set, and caring team player attitude will be sorely missed. Mike served the LPD and also the Lebanon Utilities prior to the Parks Department. Wish him much enjoyment in his retirement. And now he can't be the oldest employee in the system now. He was. Mike's a great guy, and that's all I can say. Just one of those good guys. We're going to miss him. Thomas Ingalls recently completed his lifeguard instructor certification course, and that will allow him to certify all our lifeguards in the house, which is very important. It's a huge asset to us, and also very thankful and proud of him for taking on that responsibility. Jonathan Llewellyn, he's our latest hire, about a year now. Jonathan Llewellyn, he recently attended his RT training at Lafayette. He'll be testing at Purdue this week on his core license. Aaron McMaster's another newcomer, about a year into service. Aaron McMaster will be testing Thursday and Friday for a certified pool operator's license. We are still hiring for our 2023 summer season. We hosted an open interviews last Saturday, the 4th, and had a great turnout, about 15 applicants. We hope to see similar numbers at our next date, Saturday, March 4th. Anytime, applicants can come anytime between 10 and 2 p.m. as we're looking to hire lifeguards and concession stand workers for this season. Applicants must be 15 years old. Pool party rentals are now open. We booked quite a few. It's amazing how quick they fill up. There are several dates still available, so be sure to give us a call and book your party for this summer. Pool passes are also on sale. These can be purchased online or over the phone. There are programs. We had an amazing turnout for our 2025 snowman building contest. There were 85 entries. All were very, very creative. We had a tough time deciding on the winners, so we chose 5 of them as the winners. There again, that's that big snow that the mayor wanted, and Dave from the
You
street
keep saying that word, John.
Yeah, I hear you. We look forward to doing this again next year, not this year, and thanks to all the participants. We're currently prepping and planning for the start of our spring pickleball league, so see, we're out of that snow season. More information will be released about that the 1st of March. Also, we submitted our 5-year master plan to the DNR, and that's a draft that we put in. It's pretty much complete. They'll mark it up and send it back to us, and then we'll have it submitted to them by April 1st with all the corrections or any details we need to put in there. That's all we had.
Thank you, John. Any questions for John from the board? Anything from the public? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next is Engineering Department, Kevin Krulik.
Thank you, board members, and good evening. Engineering report, start off with a couple of things. Coming up in March, we'll be doing some funding appropriation requests out of CCD, which is our Cumulative Capital Development, Sanitation Fund, which is a fund originally set up for the operation of the landfill, and then some small contingency funding out of food and beverage. I'll talk more about the individual projects that are included in those later as I go through project updates, but we're looking at a various group of projects needing some additional funding out of CCD. This is primarily cigarette tax money that we collect from the state that is used then for miscellaneous capital projects throughout the year. And then I mentioned sanitation fund for the bike park, and then just some contingency money for the Big Four Trail project out of food and beverage. But again, I'll go through those as I hit project updates. So jumping into project updates, Community Crossings, our resurfacing program for the year. That is really set at about 2 miles this year. Should be seeing contractors trying to mobilize in the next few weeks, starting handicap ADA accessible ramps in March, following up with resurfacing, milling and resurfacing in April as asphalt plants open for the year. Whit Road Bridge, happy to report that all of our final punch lists have now been accepted by the contractor, just working through those repairs that will come later in the spring as weather permits. Also on the Whit Road side of town, we have the 2027 federal aid project, about a $5.9 million project. We will be getting started here shortly on some of the preliminary engineering. In 2023, we'll be doing engineering. We won't then be getting into right-of-way buying until 2025, and then construction in 2027. But as of right now, we now have NDOT contract approvals on our preliminary engineering. The funding request has been made. We're just waiting on our final purchase orders so that we can give our consultants a notice to proceed on that. That is a project that includes some of this funding request associated with the engineering work that is to be done this year. Also remind everyone, there's a phase 2 of that project that has been submitted for the 2028 call. We're still waiting to hear back on those project awards, which will probably be sometime in the next 2 months, I would venture to guess. The Elmwood Bridge, so jumping across town, the bridge is open, has been open for a little over 2 weeks now, so happy to report that went very smoothly. Preliminary punch lists have been delivered and accepted to the contractor. Again, those are spring dependent. We're also closing out some driveway repairs that we need to do, commitments we made associated with access for construction. So going back and replacing and repairing some driveways. And then closing out our memorandum of understanding with the town of Ulen as well. Happy to report there were no significant damages, that we had an MOU in place to protect Ulen and the city. No significant damages. We might have some small repairs to do, but really there was nothing really measurable that I can see. But we're working through the closeout of that agreement. Grant Street project that's kind of shuttered right now for the winter, but we'll be getting started here real shortly. Phase 2 is scheduled to start up April 1st. Probably see work getting started, mobilization happening sometime in late March. But Phase 2 is the east half of the road. Reminding you, we're keeping traffic open to the north, but traffic to the south will be diverted and detoured. We'll do the east half of the road, basically April through July, and then we'll switch over to the west half of the road through October. We'll also take a break in the middle of the summer after school is out, and we'll rework the intersection of Williams and Ann Street. Also, we keep pushing Centerpoint, formerly Vectren, for the relocation and vacation of an existing high-pressure gas main there. Things are moving along as well as they can be. We're waiting for them to obtain some off-site permits and easements that they need from our friends at NDOT to go underneath the interstate, as well as our friends at the Subaru facility on the south end of town. There's some easement acquisition that is needed there for them to complete that project. And we're doing all we can. We've introduced them to all the right people at NDOT, as well as Subaru, calling on our partners at NDOT, as well as our partners with the EDC to make sure we got good contacts in place and getting easement documentations and right-of-way permits into the right hands. Grant Street Phase 2, also a 2027 federal aid project. The NDOT contract is in place, and we have to wait a little while longer. We can't make our funding request until July. That's because that's when the funds are appropriated in the state's budget, and that's when they start their new year. There is also a funding request, as I mentioned, associated with the CCD projects at the beginning of my report. Fordyce Road, really just around the corner, that is scheduled for construction in 2024 and 2025. There's also some funding needed on that project that we'll be working through with City Council as we go through budget conversations later in the year, and looking to have that project funding in place by fourth quarter of this year. Big Four Trail, I mentioned that project is off and running at this point. We do have some funding requests to cover some of the shortfalls due to just increases that we saw on the bidding from our original engineer's estimate that our grants were based off of, and some additional work that we added to the original phase of the project, which included the lighting on East Street. While we're talking about lighting, the East Street North lighting is all up and standing, fixtures in place, circuits have all been completed, service points have been established, and I'm told the lights should be on shortly. And by shortly, I mean you might want to drive home that way tonight. We'll see if the contractor comes through. Stone Eater Bike Park, no real new updates for you there. We're working through our commitment requirements with New Cold on hauling the dirt to the site. That schedule is still pending, but we have all those agreements in place. The plans are still 100% complete. We're waiting on IDEM approvals. We have been told to expect comment from them or approvals from them in mid-February, so hopefully this is the week for that. Remind you, we're looking at a project delivery method of the construction manager as constructor under the Indiana Code 5-32. Board of Works, this board has already issued our approval on the RFP, and a week before last, the Parks Foundation also issued their conditional approval of the RFP pending that IDEM approval letter. Again, project is a little over $3 million, with the ART money at $500,000, with the Ready Grant money at $750,000, the sanitation fund match also in the additional appropriation request I mentioned at $750,000. We have around a $2 million first phase project, deferring $1 million, $1.2 million, $1.4 million to future phase projects. Active Living Program is just around the corner. We open up those applications in March, so anyone that's looking at the cost share program for replacing sidewalks in front of their property, be on the lookout for that, but usually around the end of March, that application will hit the streets and we'll begin processing those. Regional detention, happy to report, I think we've got our final purchase agreement in place, or we'll have it in place this week with Ken's Foods to close on the remaining land we need to construct the regional detention project. Also happy to report we're still working through with our consultants at Christopher Burke on the approvals for the off-site conveyance channel, the pipes underneath 39. And the railroad tracks, just working on those approvals from NDOT and the railroad company, and hopefully before the end of the first quarter, we're ready to go out to bid on those projects. Our city and county MOU and drainage board approvals are already in place. RDC has already funded that project at $1.75 million, and again, looking to be under construction this summer. Riley Road, a couple of smaller projects, Riley Road widening and pedestrian improvements, some drainage improvements as well. That is also in that CCD funding request. Right-of-way engineering documents, though, are wrapping up, and we'll be putting that in the hands of right-of-way buyers to start final appraisals and making offers here in the next few weeks. The next small project is also a drainage project. That's Elizaville Road drainage improvements. You might have seen some stakes go up along the north side of the road out there. That is primarily control staking for topographic surveys that are in place to put that drainage study on the ground and be ready to make some drainage improvements there later in the year as well. And then I mentioned the funding appropriations that will be coming before City Council next month. But again, CCD at a total of $827,000, sanitation fund $750,000, and a food and beverage request of $200,000, but that is just to cover contingencies that may come up on the Big Four Trail. The rest of the Big Four Trail project is funded through other means. Engineering inspection departments, since we last were before you, we've conducted 16 SWIP inspections, responded to 3 complaints on drainage or erosion control, issued 7 right-of-way permits, a lot of different projects that are still going on. we have projects that are through sort of the site development phase and into the building permit phase. That includes things like Sunbrook Villas, Auburn Meadows, Phase 3, Dunkin' Donuts, Sunbrook, Phase 3, Cedar Ridge, Phase 1 and 2, and United Development Project down there in the business park. Projects that are still ongoing on site development would include the Reese Park Lift Station, Stony to Bike Park. We are, even though there's not much really happening there, we are filing our reports for erosion control. We have erosion control protections in place. Whitworth Bridge, Elmwood Bridge, Grant Street project, those are all projects that are active construction sites under our MS4 permit. And then there's a host of new projects coming our way that are in the report. I won't bother listing those off, but that's all I have for you tonight.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions for Kevin from the board? Anything from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Next will be Planning Department, Ben Bontrager.
Good evening, board members. Planning Department activity. Since the last Board of Works meeting, the Planning Department did 67 building inspections and issued 32 new permits, with 5 of those being new residential homes. So we're still seeing good, strong activity there. We did also issue a couple of commercial permits to get folks going on some projects there, both a remodel and a foundation permit for the start of another commercial project. So again, still great activity that we're seeing both on the residential and non-residential side. And as Kevin just talked about, there's a lot of projects coming our way when we really hit construction season in March or April. So tracking a lot of those as we're moving forward and preparing for those. In terms of projects, we just recently had a filing deadline for the March Plan Commission meeting. So big projects that we expect to be on that March meeting will include Eli Lilly's development plan and plat. So that would be their final planning approval they would need before they could start moving dirt, which they're hoping to do by April 1st this year. Planning on getting that site up and running here pretty quickly. And then also the school corporation is planning expansions of both Perryworth and Harney schools. And so those will also be on that March Plan Commission agenda. So a couple big projects we see coming our way. The new elementary school we'll expect probably here in a couple of months. It's a couple months behind these expansions. So a lot of good projects going on with the schools and as well as other things coming our way. On the code enforcement side, again, seeing a lot of good activity there. 56 different investigation activities and 11 new cases since the last meeting. So a lot of good activity happening there. And of course, we're just now ramping up for the really busy season that starts in about April or May for code enforcement. So getting prepped and prepared for that as well. That's all I have at this time. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ben. Any questions for Ben from the board? From the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Street and Stormwater Department, Dave Newell.
How's everybody doing? Hope you're enjoying the weather. We ordered it, so it showed up. We're out fixing potholes, still using winter mix right now, but as soon as the plant's open, we'll be able to fix them a little better, but just trying to stay ahead of the potholes that we can. So if you get any, don't hesitate to call the office or our shop at 765-482-8870. Just hit number 4. That'll send you right to us. We've been still picking up Christmas trees, believe it or not. There's a few stragglers here and there. Had somebody call the other day and asked if we were still picking them up, but we're getting them. It's been pretty busy keeping the easements picked up of trash. I know the crew was out down Indianapolis, by the Harney School there, Hoy Avenue, and it's picked up. I don't know why they throw so much stuff there, but we did the bridges too. We're trying to stay on top of under Camp Street and Lafayette Avenue Bridge where the people walk and kids see the beer cans and stuff. We just try to keep it painted. Joe knows that. They like to graffiti that for some reason. Update on the new street department, it's rolling pretty good. They got the floor all poured, like I said last time. They got everything marked out now for the offices, conference rooms, stuff like that. We did find a little bit of a water leak inside the building, but they seem to have that under control. Just might have to replace some insulation. They brought out the building manufacturer and see what's going on there. I'm sure it's something with the overlap or something, but they should be able to get that fixed. We'll know more tomorrow. Got a meeting with them, so. Sent the guys out the crew out to Indianapolis Road today. They cleaned up a bunch of down trees we had by the fields and the woods and all that, so we got all those chipped up, so we're ready to go when it starts mowing again. We've had a few questions call in about brush and stuff, so, if we get heavy storm, we'll be out, obviously, but we're trying to remind everybody that in the first 2 weeks of April, we go out and we call it a cleanup, spring cleanup kind of deal, where we take the leafers out, or at least one leafer out, and pick up everything that people's had to clean up, maybe they didn't get to over before winter hits, so keep that in mind, and we'll be out cleaning all that stuff up hopefully pretty soon. So that's all I got.
Yep, thank you, Dave. Questions for Dave? Dick?
Dave, one
Yes.
question. Do you take care of all the patching on 250 north, west of the railroad tracks?
Yeah, all 250 we
There's
take care
3
of.
holes coming in on the north side.
Yeah, that's on our
Going up
blacktop
the new
list.
addition up there, so.
Yeah, that's on our pavement list for this year, so. But yeah, we're trying to keep it patched up until then. Also a reminder that we keep.
They're not
getting-
bad yet, but.
Yeah, we
they will
keep
be.
getting a lot of calls from the business park about the railroad tracks, and we keep calling CSX, but we just want people to realize that's not ours we're trying to get CSX to repair those, so.
Any other questions for Dave from the board? From the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Communications and Community Development, Jill Page.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start off with a thank you. Our one-stop shop, our city calendar event webpage continues to fill up. Got 3 more events that came in the inbox earlier today, so really appreciate the public for getting that website, that webpage really populated with some great events. I've been doing my best to kind of stock social media and be able to add those events. But again, if you have an event or anything that would help augment or help out your nonprofit or organization, send an email with some basic details. I'll find the rest. But just send an email to loveandlebanon@lebanon.in.gov. We want to have that just be a one-stop shop for not only our locals, but our visitors as well, just to be able to stop there, see what's going on, and be able to enjoy the many things that Lebanon has to offer. If you don't hit up the webpage, you might be able to hear about some of those great things on the Love in Lebanon podcast. Our last episodes included Stacy Dempster with Merle Norman. She had a Galentine's Day event. Mayor Gentry helped commemorate episode 100. We just went live with Jason Dennis and Kylan Trent, a couple new street team guys. Enjoyed telling their story. And coming up later on this week, the mayor's intern, JoJo Morrison, a Lebanon High School senior, self-proclaimed best episode we've ever done, according to JoJo anyway. That's the best episode we've ever done. But if you have ideas for that website, again, loveandlebanon@lebanon.in.gov. Been doing a fair amount of department and community-related videos. Was out on one of the coldest days of the year with the fire department. They did the frozen ice water training. I had a chance to see that up close and personal. Amazing training there. We're wrapping up and getting final confirmation on the LPD, Lebanon Police Department, their hiring/promotional video. So kind of going through that with a fine-tooth comb. The guys have been awesome about giving some direction with that. Want that to be their video and really be able to help sell what the great things the department does to applicants, but also the public as well. Also working with LPD on the online pre-application webpage. Right now, you have to either get that via email, print it off, fill it out, scan it, or take it into Ruthie at LPD, but pretty soon on the website, you'll be able to do that right online, and so you can submit, you can kind of get that hiring process going a little bit easier for those that are interested, and so looking forward to adding that to the LPD page as well. And then finally, we are going to, once the weather continues to be sustainably warm, we'll begin work on the latest mural, the Camp Street mural. Again, we've partnered with CSX and got permission to add 5 different murals on underpasses rather, within the city limits. This one will be near on Camp Street near Harney Elementary, and it will be done by Anita Gordon, who's a local artist, and she is going to kind of have her own take on Van Gogh's Midsummer Night's Dream, but this is kind of a Lebanon/Harney theme to it. It'll feature Harney Elementary, the Skyview Theater, various buildings around downtown, the War Memorial as well, and that'll be there. There'll also be some hidden tiger paws for visitors. Our goal there is, as Dave mentioned, there have been some creative taggings over the years, ones we can't mention on the air here, and family friendly and all those things, no pictures today. But there will be hidden paws for visitors to find, and we want that to be an area where we talk to Harney Elementary about maybe having some walkable field trips, so they can go and find and interact with that art along Camp Street, and also just a general quality of life. When you drive by and see someone that's tagged it, kind of lowers that maybe self-esteem or community pride, but then being able to see kind of Van Gogh adaptation done by a local artist, accentuating and highlighting local buildings and attractions. We're hoping that will kind of raise that level of appreciation for our community, and so want to be able to do that. So again, that once we get warmer weather on a sustainable level, Anita will get going with that, being able to paint on rainy days, obviously under the the canopy of the train track, but want to be able to have the best weather possible. We'll be releasing updates on community creation days where folks can get out and be able to put paint to canvas on Camp Street. So looking forward to doing that as well.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe from the board? Alan?
Just a comment, on that Camp Street viaduct, the fundamental condition of that is still just a mess. You drive through and, it's been patched and stuff's falling off. If somebody's going to come in and do a mural, who's going to fix that to where it's reasonable and has some chance of lasting for a while?
We have two different ways of combating that. One is you can take the easy route and kind of have that deterioration or kind of that wear and tear be part of the mural, and that's the easier way out. But we're going to take another route, and that's petition again for CSX to take a look at the Camp Street overpass, and if they aren't going to fix it, if they would allow us to maybe touch it up a little bit. Usually we can't add things to it, the murals, we can't drill anything, we can't hammer anything, obviously. We can affix some things, and which we'll do on the 32th Street mural, or State Road 32 mural there. But going to petition them one more time, we're going to add the mural there. If they're okay with us footing the bill to have a better blank canvas, flat canvas for Anita, we want to do that instead of taking the easy way out, because you're right, you're adding all this work and money and paint to that kind of facade of the underpass, and want to be able to have it last and not just crumble and fall apart as soon as it's done. So two paths, we're going to take the one that we feel might have more longevity for that mural.
Whenever we've talked to CSX, they've always said the bridge is secure structurally, right? But it's, as we all know, it's an old bridge, right?
Oh,
And
in
it's-
1916.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how many trucks have taken the roof off in the last.
And it was a five-figure price tag, nearly a six-figure price tag to get them in, to get the permission. Their engineer came in from Atlanta and inspected all of the viaducts to be able to see their integrity, and they said, yep, we're all good. And so we got permission, but we'd like to be able to add some TLC before we add some paint and things as well.
I just hate to see, the time and the effort, not even for Anita, but just, for the city and the planning and all the things, and then have stuff flaking off and that type of thing. But, trust you. All right, Joe,
Yeah,
thanks.
we're taking that route, and we'll see. Maybe we have to go back where they'll say, don't you dare touch it, and then we'll integrate it with the mural, and that'll be that. But at the same time, we'd love to be able to have
Put a slogan on the top there, you scratch, you paint.
Any other questions for Joe from the board?
No.
Anything for the public? Okay, thank you, sir. That concludes department head reports. Move on to old business. There's nothing on my agenda. Is there anything from the board? Okay. New business then. First item up is a surplus items request for the Parks Department. John Messenger.
Good evening. I'm here before you asking to surplus a 2004 Dodge 1500 Ram. There again, we're going to surplus it and trade it in for a Ford F-150. And thank you, Mr. Stoner. He's aware of it and did quite a bit of work on it. Thank you.
John's we filled out the surplus form, and that'll be traded in to Enterprise. And John's already received his F-150 2023 pickup.
Yes.
Is this your last one from before I was in high school? Graduated high school?
Yeah, this should be it. Yes.
Huh?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, good. Any other questions for John on that? Okay, we're going to entertain a motion to surplus the 2004 Dodge 1500 Ram.
I make a motion, we surplus the 2004 Dodge 1500 Ram.
We motion surplus. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and John, you're still up. Contract approval, Cornerstone Professional Service Contract for Abner Long Lake Walking Trail and Pond.
Yes, before I sent out two contracts, both from Cornerstone, and I'm asking the board's approval of the contracts. Mr. Shine spent time going through the contracts and gave his thumbs up on that and approval. They're both already have funding for both projects out of the American Rescue Plan. There again, one of them is for the old conservation pond, looking at work for that. Conservation pond overlook schematic design. There again, two locations. topography and all kinds of other site work that'll be done. The other contract is at Abner Longley, and that's a site master plan, kind of create a walking path within Abner on the south side of the park, connecting the north playground and splash pad areas to the south and east sides of the park and the Big Four Trail. In addition, there again, also try to establish an 18-hole disc golf course and lay it out after we get everything else laid out. Reestablished, we had one, took it out, so this will cover that also. And
So-
those are the two contracts.
So to clarify, so it's a fishing pier in Abner Longley Park?
Yes,
right?
yeah, I called Overlook, fishing pier,
Okay.
yes,
And then walking trail around the park,
correct,
then-
along with disc golf course.
along with disc golf? Okay.
Correct.
Are they two separate contracts, or do we need,
How much are those?
One is, the first one, or the fishing piers, is $18,500.
How much?
$18,500. And the other one would be $8,000, I think it is. Let me double check. Second one is, yes, roughly $8,500, I'm sorry.
Two contracts, correct?
Yes. With
Any-
several different services,
Sure.
yeah.
Any questions from the board on that, for John?
Same same contractor?
Yes, Cornerstone on both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, she's also done the 5-year master plan, worked well with her. Also ran through all this through the park board, which was well received and given a go-ahead with this also.
Okay, good.
Okay, would entertain a motion then to approve the first contract for the fishing pier in Abner Longley Park?
So move. Second?
We have a motion from Alan and a second from Dick. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. And then finally, the contract for the walking trail and disc golf course.
I'll make a motion that we approve contract for Cornerstone.
Okay, we have a motion approved. Is there a second?
Second?
Second from Bill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, those are approved. Thank you, board. All right, that concludes what I have for new business. Is there anything from the board? Okay, we don't have claims ready at this meeting, so I'll address those at our next meeting. Is there? Oh, we do have claims.
Yeah, they're...
Oh, okay, you got me flipped around. Okay, that's why. We do have claims, excuse me, if we do have minutes. Okay, so we'll entertain a motion then to approve, unless we have any questions about the claims.
I'll make a motion, we approve the claims presented.
Motion to approve from Alan, second from Dick. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those claims are approved. All right, any announcements or general discussion? Okay, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. Motion adjourned from Bill, second from Dick. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, our next Board of Works meeting will be February 27th at 6:15 PM. We are adjourned.
All right.